Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gloves Off with David Singer. No music today. Tommy blew out the internet on the other stage. This is actually the first time I've ever been on this stage before, so I guess we'll let it work, right? And I have a very special guest for our new background and new stage, Cassandra Cloude. Hello, how you doing?
Hey.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a voice teacher and music professor at University of Miami. Quite a few other titles falling underneath the same umbrella of teaching voice, author. I own a mentorship company, and
we'll get into all that. We're gonna get a lot of questions, okay? Because I was introduced to you by Raina, so we got to give Raina a shout out. So let's talk about your childhood a little bit.
Sure.
You are originally from.
I'm from here. I was born in New York.
Okay.
I came here when I was 3, so I feel, I'm a Miami native all the way. And my parents are both from Haiti.
And they moved over here?
Oh, when they were about 16, 17.
10 years old? Your dad was a musician?
My dad was a musician. He played lots of different instruments, piano, he sang, played accordion, just a well-rounded musician. So. And
his musical education background was?
He learned by rote. He taught himself how to play. He played with a lot of different bands. Here in Miami, he owned a nightclub. When I was young, he owned a nightclub and he would play in the band, and kind of like you. But
oh yeah, I'm not playing in a band
or singing in a band.
Actually, if you want to know the truth, which is funny, and I'll give a shout out to Dan. And I think you've met Dan. I'm actually taking, I played a little drums for like a year when I was in maybe high school or junior high or whatever. And I'm actually taking drum lessons again because, it seemed like the thing to do.
It's amazing.
Now all I got to do is start taking piano lessons again, and I'd be really well-rounded.
And it's great therapy.
Yeah, it's great therapy. It's great therapy. So you went to Southwood?
I went to Southwood Middle School.
By the way, she happens to be a Palmetto Bay alumni. She was raised, for the most part, in Palmetto Bay. So there's like, this little thing with Palmetto Bay. Every time I sit down and I interview somebody, Palmetto Bay always seems to pop up somewhere because that's where I live. But you went to Southwood?
I went to Southwood Middle School. I was there for music because you know how they had the magnet program for the arts, performing arts. So I was there for music, and then I went to Coral Reef High School. Yeah, for high school.
And you went to I don't know. That's okay, but you did. I would assume that at Coral Reef you studied music.
I did.
Okay, and that was because that's a magnet program.
Yes.
So you got accepted, which is hard to do actually at Coral Reef. I actually think Coral Reef was in the top 10 high schools in the United States at one point. I'm not sure that they still are, but they have a super program there. So instead of going to Palmetto Senior High School, where I went, you went to
Coral Reef.
Coral Reef. Well, there wasn't Coral Reef when I was a kid. Yeah. So from there you went to
FIU. So I studied music education with principal and voice, and then I went to Nova afterwards and earned an MBA.
Okay, so let's talk about FIU and music. So what kind of classes did you take there?
Ear training, theory, choir, ensembles, voice lessons, musicology, music history.
Okay, we're going to have to go through some of these classes. What is the first one you said was ear
training?
Ear training.
It was hard.
What is that? What is that? So we got to keep it. We got to dumb it down for me. So what exactly is ear training?
So ear training is just being able to completely identify chords, and actually identifying chords is not that difficult, but like just completely working through chord structure and progression, identifying sounds and everything from different periods, so we like completely dissected the Baroque, the Renaissance, the classical era. And like, we really had to write and everything, or the professor would play a melody and you'd have to write it down in rhythm dictation, melodic dictation.
Would you know if somebody hit like a C on a piano? Would you be able to recognize that?
Relatively. Yeah. So that's considered perfect pitch. So I don't have perfect pitch, but I have relative pitch.
Relative.
But
Does that mean a
pitch-
relative of yours has
there's-
perfect pitch?
No, well, most people
Yeah.
are not. Like there's very few people with perfect pitch,
Mhm.
actually. And that would be like you play anything
Yeah.
and they could just say that's a, C.
That was me
C
when I was a
sharp.
kid, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, it's I think I lost that ability, but
Oh.
I could actually, you could actually hit anything on
Usually
it.
it sticks with you.
You could, well, any key on the piano, and I could actually tell you,
Yeah.
which is weird because I don't know if I doubt very much I have that anymore. But you know,
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
do you think it's
Muscle
passed down from
memory.
generation to generation? Because my dad had perfect pitch.
Maybe it could be, or just like how you were listening to music at a young age. Maybe.
Yeah, you were talking about your dad. My dad had the same ability. He played the drums. He played the piano. He definitely played the clarinet because he gave me his clarinet. He knew like 7 or 8 different instruments and stuff.
Yeah.
So he was
amazing.
definitely a definite. Couldn't make any money, but he was definitely an artist. You in life you choose making a lot of money or doing what you really
Yeah.
love, right?
Well, I believe you could have both.
Yeah,
Because a lot of money is relative.
that's
you know,
true.
totally
It's definitely relative.
Yeah.
Losing it's relative too.
True.
Okay, so you went to Carl Reef.
Mhm.
Any great professors or anything that are
Yeah,
teachers?
I mean, my choir teacher,
Mhm.
John Rose,
Is he still there?
he's not. He passed away.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he and later became my mentor,
Mhm.
and a very, very close friend and colleague afterwards. And yeah,
Okay, so FIU, we went through one of your classes. So explain some of the other classes that you went to.
gosh, well, typical theory, which
Yeah.
would be, dictation, some stuff like that, writing it, analyzing it, taking apart fugues.
Fugues?
listening and just like, piecing it together. And it was interesting because, gosh, it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It
And
wasn't that long ago. Come on, don't date yourself.
and
I mean, there were cars and TV sets and stuff.
Right.
when you went to-
but we were still
Yeah.
getting into that place of like cell phones.
Really?
Yeah, I was still kind of having a beeper. I had a beeper code in college.
How is that possible?
Totally.
I don't even remember those days. So, okay. So, and then you graduated FIU
I graduated.
and you went and got your master's in business administration, which is kind of almost a complete opposite of getting what I would think is, I think it works perfectly together, by the way.
Right.
I would tell every single student I know that decided to go get a music degree or a history degree
Yeah.
to get some sort of business
Right.
business shingle,
Yeah.
for their room, because it's tough out there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I did it with the thought of that I was going to own a music school,
Mhm.
and and going into the route of just arming myself with the right like thoughts and finance, accounting, and all of that stuff for music. So I never had a thought that I was going to leave music education.
no, but it works together, right?
Right.
One works
Right.
on the left side of your brain, one works on the right side of the brain.
Well, music
meet
is
in the
supposed
middle.
to work the whole
Whole brain? Okay, the whole brain.
No,
Okay.
no, but it's funny because
Yeah.
like even in my accounting class, I remember when everybody stands up and introduces themselves, and they're like, and my bachelor's is in business or marketing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, my bachelor's is in music education, and I remember my professor looking at me like it was going to be a difficult class for me, and I, nicely,
Was that
elegantly,
the accounting class?
accounting?
Because I remember my first accounting class. It's interesting. The teacher said, and I love it. You got to love these teachers, right? Look to the right of you. Now look
Oh,
to the
yes.
left of you.
That was my finance.
One of those
professor, yeah.
people are not going to be here
That was
at
my
the end
finance
of.
professor.
Can you imagine walking
know.
into
It's horrible.
It's horrible. It gives you
Yeah.
this dreary
Yeah.
feeling that,
I mean, and in the end, they were right, but they probably put that cloud over the students.
it was they made, maybe predetermined.
Completely.
Yeah.
I would never do that. to
So
my
your accounting, you learn
Yeah.
debits and credits.
Right. And so I remember she looked at me and she thought I was going to struggle. And I calmly said, if I can get a music degree, I can handle accounting, because the theory aspects and the studies with music, the discipline, the accomplishment, the everything that you learn in, getting a music degree,
Mhm.
which is not easy, I think definitely helped me do well in business school, honestly.
Definitely. There has to be some bizarre correlation between music and accounting. I don't know what that is. I don't see that correlation in finance, because finance is
finance
basically
was really hard for me.
finance is is like calculus or something. Finance is basically learning all kinds of formulas.
Yeah.
If you can remember formulas, you basically got finance done.
I definitely had a couple of breakdowns for finance.
Did they make you take macro and microeconomics?
Macro. Yes. Okay. And I think I remember it being a summer. Oh gosh, that whole time was like a blur. But I did well.
Yeah.
But I had to study.
At Nova. So you went to Nova Southeastern up in was it
Davie?
Okay, because I know they got a whole bunch of different locations.
It was the Huizenga school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you got your degrees and you're out there and you're going, okay, I'm going to look for a job, or I'm going to start my own business.
Well, I started teaching right after my bachelor's. So I was teaching for the school system, a music teacher.
Which school?
Sylvania Heights Elementary, and I did Coral Way K through 8.
I'm not familiar with either of those.
So like it's like West Miami.
Okay.
And so I was teaching, and my thoughts going in, even before I started college, that I was going to do 5 years in the school system and leave. So I did 4. I left kind of prematurely. I got my master's degree, I think the 3rd year in. So I had already started my company while I was teaching in the school system. So and when I was done with everything, that's when I just said, okay, well, I'm going to go in full time as a business owner.
Yeah. So tell us once again what the name of the company is.
Okay. So it started off as Miami Elite Music School. So I pretty much hired all of my college friends.
Oh,
yeah. I hired
great.
all of them. And like, it was the school that comes to you, because I had no money for an overhead. So basically I hired them to go to like homes, and I hired them as independent contractors, opened an S Corp, and then I paid them like $40 an hour to like go out to homes and teach. So I had clarinet, guitar, violin, like all these instruments, and I had hired all of my college friends.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how did that turn out?
It was good. I think in the end, I remember having this one recital that I wasn't too happy about, because at the time I wasn't teaching for my own company.
Yeah.
I was just running the company. And then I just had this epiphany one day, and I was just like, you know what? My dream was to always have a voice school where I was like the face of the curriculum and the school. So I just sold the clients to like the teachers, my friends. And then I opened up Cassandra Cloude Inc.
And does that have a office? Or
now it does.
Now it does. But back then it didn't. Back then it didn't have enough.
So it was just me.
Yeah.
And like
it's a lot easier to manage yourself than it is to manage a whole bunch.
That's what it definitely felt like that. And it was really cool, because I know my friends were just like, what? You're gonna get rid of everything and just do voice. But my profit had tripled within months as soon as I said this is what I was gonna do. So just so you
could actually live.
Yeah, follow your dream and passion. And
okay. And then in between running your own company, you work at UM.
Yes.
And you are a professor there?
Yes.
Okay. So explain your classes.
My classes are, I teach a lot of voice students there. And I run an ensemble or a course that it's called the DIY ensemble. So basically there's a lot of autonomy of like a bunch of different band.
Okay, you're gonna have to dumb this down for the people who are not into music and don't understand.
So DIY, we know what DIY is, do it yourself, right? Yep. So they have different bands that I pretty much keep them accountable. And I walk them through like the logistics behind running their own bands. I also teach a performance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I also teach a performing artistry course with Raina Murnack. And that's like an everything course. Oh my gosh. It's like, the inner parts, the business aspect. It's like, it's every freshman should take that course. Yeah.
So is it, so are these required courses, or do you pick and choose? How does that all come to
They're
play?
required to take ensembles. So like,
4 or 5 people in the ensemble?
So
Or-
in the performance artistry ensemble, per class, there's 2 classes.
Yeah.
There's about 15 to 20.
but
per
not in
class.
each ensemble.
And in the DIY,
Yeah.
they have like they're required to have at least 2.
Mhm.
So they can't come in as soloist. And if they do, let's say 3 of them come in, and
I mean, isn't
you
an
know,
ensemble usually like 4 to 5 people?
yeah, but so they can come in, like
Yeah.
they can maybe come in as 2 though.
Mhm.
And I may group them with other students to kind of create a bigger ensemble or something like that.
And is it all singing, or is it instruments too? in the
Instruments
ensemble?
too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically they're forming an ensemble. They're basically forming their
Right.
band.
Yeah.
Do they write their own songs, or do they
Yes.
do covers?
Yeah, they write their own songs and they do covers. So
Mhm.
it's pretty much, they have to send a proposal in the beginning. So I have to go through the proposals. So sometimes it's all about them writing songs, and other times it's about covers.
How do you grade them?
That's a good question. You know, I grade them on time. I
Mhm.
grade them on
Time- what does that
accountability.
mean?
So a timeline.
Oh,
So,
okay. So they have to hit all their
their
projected
goals.
goals.
You know, they basically have a business plan. You know,
Oh,
and we run through all of that together. So and it's really just making sure that they do it. And generally, I don't have issues with that because they really want to do it.
Oh, it sounds fun.
Yeah, they really want to do it. So I so far have not had an issue with that at all. So
I always said if I was going to go back to school, I'd take music and history. Why history? Because I always find history fascinating.
yeah.
And music, it's always,
Yeah.
So besides the ensemble, what else are you teaching? And how do you do everything and still run your business?
So it's funny because I was pretty much like found and recruited through my business.
Mm.
And it was just all of the work that I had done through my business, how I was even noticed.
Is that how I was going to say? Is that how they found you for
Yes.
UM?
Yes.
So was it an open position, or was it word of mouth, or how?
I believe
how did-
originally, actually, I know I got a phone call.
Yeah.
You know, and after that, Reina was moving up, and she's like, "Well, we're both moving up," you know,
Yeah.
and you know, kind of just like worked out that way. So, yeah.
So you're in the Frost building of
I'm in the Frost
building.
Yeah, Frost School of Music. And yeah.
Yeah. How's COVID affected your
Well,
teaching?
we're mostly on Zoom, so
See, that's how do you do music on Zoom?
it's tough.
It's hard enough to do business. I mean, I have business meetings all the time.
It's
so-
tough, but I will say this: these students are extremely talented.
Mhm.
They have a lot of things. They have all of the equipment, you know, that they need to make things work out like really well. I mean, the end result of some of these assignments will blow your mind. You know, it's just like the way that they can figure out how to now
Mhm.
work through audio and visuals, and it's been an amazing thing. If you can look at it as like glass half full, it's been quite an amazing thing to just watch what COVID has inspired these students to do.
Yeah, it's hard to get into music. I don't think anybody realizes how difficult it is to get into Frost Music School.
Yes.
So off the top of your head how many people apply and how many people get in?
I know there's a lot.
There's a lot, right?
At
And there's a
least
very
spent days looking at,
Yeah.
you know, looking
if
at
anybody's
auditions.
what there was a movie where they were going through files for Harvard or something,
Yeah.
and they're like, nope. It's like
Yeah.
1 out of every 5. I think they said.
I wouldn't. It's not so much like that as from what I can say with the auditions that I've seen,
Yeah.
and the auditions that I've done. I would say, if
It's very talented people
always
from
auditioning.
all over the
So
world.
it's
From all
tough.
over the world.
It's tough
Yeah.
because you were looking at the cream of the crop
Mhm.
of the crop. Like, I mean, it's just like everybody auditioning is great and talented. So like so it's tough. It's tough. So then we look at grades, we have to look at so many other things, but you know, they're all talented coming in. So it makes it and the interview process is important because of that.
And I heard that there are a lot of international students who come in who want to take music at the Frost School,
Right.
which is great.
Yeah.
And probably the Northeast, because
Lots of Northeast.
UM's always been fed by the Northeast.
Yeah, lots of Northeast.
Yeah. Okay, so let's ask you some questions because I have notes. These are great. Okay, so owner of a performing artist mastermind mentorship program.
Yeah.
You've been
Is
a
that
leader.
your resume?
That actually is your resume, promoting cultural and awareness through vocal instruction, and has students performing on stages across the country, including Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, is that Carnegie Hall? And how'd you get those students perform?
Well, I mean, that's mostly through their choirs and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So getting them ready for
Yeah.
auditions and stuff like that.
and is that through your personal, or is that through UM?
Personal.
Personal.
Yeah.
Okay. NBC's The Voice,
Yes.
which I happen to like that program. It's really
Yeah.
good. I actually like that program better. What's the other one that they have on it? I guess they got another one.
So funny.
Yeah, they Adrian Arch Center.
Mhm.
All this is
All that's through personal. Yeah.
all this through
Yeah.
X Factor, which I like. That program is good. So you wanna tell me how many students you put on X Factor?
I don't know. It's like, and
X Factor is great.
far. They've
What?
gotten far, but
Yeah.
I haven't had a winner yet.
Oh, if once you get a winner, you can start charging, instead of $70 an hour, $250 an hour.
Well,
You just got to put that on. That just has to be on the resume.
And it's just, yeah. But but basically, I have students that have done some pretty great things though.
So like, what age students? Because I'm sure there are going to be people out there, watching the #1 program on community newspapers. Okay, which is mine. Thank you. Not to toot my own horn. Speaking about music, right? So a lot of people are going to be watching, or maybe not. And they'll go, well, she teaches like high school students or college students. I mean, do you pick up like other students from, younger, like junior high school, or?
Yeah, I have some younger students, not so much anymore.
Yeah.
So right now, I would say like my students range from, at least my company students are ranging mostly professionals and adults. So, yes, right. So I have some young students now, high school, junior high. Generally, those are the ones that really want to audition for like community theater here. They probably want to audition for a high school, for the performing arts, or they want to major in college.
So, any of your students on Broadway? Near Broadway? Off Broadway?
Of course.
Because it says right here.
Yes, I do.
Okay, we're quizzing her. Okay.
It's like, do I just say the names? No, but yes,
No,
I do.
you can
And
say names. I don't care.
It's really cool because like it's so funny because I do work with some quite some professionals.
Yeah.
And like when I go and watch them, they are just as timid as like,
Really? Do you beat your students?
Oh,
is that what
no,
the deal is?
I think, I am just like, you should be happy that I'm there. It's like, don't tell me you're in the audience. I'm like, you got me front row tickets. What do you mean? And they're just
Oh, that's funny. And they're nervous?
yeah. Oh, and they see my face and they're just like, don't even
That's
tell
hilarious.
me. Don't even tell me you're there.
So that is
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious.
It never ends. You never get that. Even with me and my old professors, like you always kind of just like feel that.
Any musicals we know that they like, Cats, or anything that?
Lion King.
Oh, cool. I've never seen that, by the way.
Lion King. I have a student now was on Jesus Christ Superstar. I mean,
That's a great play. I saw that when I was younger. So you're a vocal prodigy?
Act. Say that again.
I thought
Pedagogue.
What? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to teach me how to read.
You.
What? So talk about, like it says, achieve a voice that can have. Sorry, guys. Healthily and easily through a variety of by the way of reducing tension, anxiety, and emotional
Vocal
blockages.
health.
Okay, thank you.
Vocal health.
You help me because I'm.
Yeah, it's vocal health and like adding that emotional part aspect to it too. Just sometimes it's mental, and many times it's physical, but like that is totally connected to our minds.
Correct.
And so I try to break through that as best as I can.
So how do you teach that, or do you teach that in your to your private student? Because I'm separating private through.
Well, it's the same. It falls underneath the same thing, and so I bring a lot of the same stuff. I have a certification in Reiki and sound healing, and I bring in those aspects.
Okay, let's talk about Reiki, because I've had Reiki before.
Yeah.
Real or fantasy?
mind. And I think it's just important to understand if this is something you want to work on.
Okay,
then,
wait, we gotta
you
we gotta
know.
talk about Reiki. Okay, here we're gonna talk about Reiki for a second. I know it's a little off topic. A lot of breathing. If anybody has never had Reiki before, why don't you explain to them what Reiki is?
So Reiki is just the thought of like smart energy,
Mhm.
you know, kind of like rolling through your chakras and opening up your mind, opening up your confidence, your love,
Mhm.
your inner child.
I had Reiki, and it was music in the background and somebody doing a lot of breathing and stuff like that.
It's
And it was
different
it was nice. I just
yeah.
it was more of a, I felt it more like almost like a non-touch massage
Right.
than it was.
Yes.
Now, did I hit it?
Yes.
It's like a non-touch
Because
massage,
it's like,
right?
yeah, because
Yes,
nobody
it so
touches you.
relaxes you, right?
Yeah. So you feel so relaxed and so like you just want to hug a tree when you're done. Yeah.
Oh, so that's where we get our tree huggers from? Okay, so tell me some more stuff. I'm looking at your resume.
Yeah, it's
Real-
like we could just talk. I mean,
Oh, we could talk. No, I mean, I could talk, but okay, so let's talk about, you remained an active member in a whole bunch of organizations.
yes.
Tell me about those.
Okay. I believe in professional development.
Mhm.
I believe that I have to stay very current with what's going on. There's things changing all of the time. And so I stay active in learning. So I go to conferences as much as I can, whether, well, now they're all online. And
Doesn't that suck? There's no human interaction.
different. It's
It really is
definitely
awful.
different. Yeah.
I feel worse for all the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with it
Yeah.
every once in a while, but
Yeah.
the kids, when there's no interaction, it takes, first of all, it's taken away the college experience.
For sure.
I cannot imagine going to college and having all my classes on the internet. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
Go ahead.
no. Yeah. So
We're bouncing around. It's a new set,
I love it.
and
it's
I don't have a desk here. And,
So yeah, so I just believe in consistent learning, just to even with my fitness and stuff, like I think it's important that I'm constantly in the position of being the student, so I can constantly and consistently relate to my students and stay in their shoes, because I think especially as professors, I think sometimes we forget what it's like to be in their shoes.
Oh, I had some dreadful professors in college, but that's what happens when you go to business school. I can see all the music professors I've met are all so laid back and so nice and everything.
Never
and they
forget your music teacher.
And they're so. My music teacher in high school was not that pleasant.
But you haven't forgotten him.
No, but in college, everybody I've met, because I've met my share, just relaxed and want to work with the kids and stuff like that. Where I went to a couple of different colleges and business professors are not, they're like, okay, you either learn it or you don't. But the music professors really are there to support.
Generally, we're there because we really want to be.
And by the way, I don't want to classify every teacher that way. So I'll be getting nasty emails. You don't know what you're talking about. I had great teachers.
I had great business teachers. Yeah. I mean, and I had not so great music teachers. So, generally we're there because we really want to be. And I think, we're driven through passion. And that's that comes forth in the way that we teach. So we probably don't get burnt out as quickly, because we're kind of constantly just doing professional development, networking as
well, you have to,
and all of that stuff.
When you're in a college, you pretty much have to, right?
You have to, but you can still limit it.
If you don't write a book, which we'll talk about in a second, you're never going to become a professor. Well, got to write a lot of papers, right? Yeah. Got to do a lot of,
But they're still passion driven. I mean, okay, I might be speaking for myself, but I think I'm speaking for the majority of my colleagues as well. So,
I can ask you, do you play any instruments?
I played piano because I had to in college and in high school, so I can definitely play for my students.
You know what the C chord is.
But I would not, but I would not accompany them at a concert or something like that.
Piano's so great.
Yeah.
Piano is they should make everybody take piano lessons.
So No.
Even in junior high school.
Right.
Okay. Because actually I think if you take piano, you're probably better at math.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think sometimes music and mathematics go together. go together, and somebody's going to call me up and go, you don't know what you're, send me an email or something, say you don't know what you're talking about. So let's talk about the book.
Yeah. It's called The Singer's Compass.
Mm-hmm.
And I go through, it's kind of an esoteric book. I go through all of the different chakras. Well, I go through 7 of them because there are more than 7, but I go through the 7 main chakras and I relate them to singing.
Oh, that's right. You can tell me what color I am.
Like your aura?
Yeah.
No, I can't. Like that I can't do. I'm sorry.
No, you gave me, I gave you my birthday, right?
I mean, I'm not like
Didn't we did that once? So I gave you my birthday, I think. And
I know what you're talking about.
There you go.
Okay, well.
Okay, let's go back to the book,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to tell you.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's totally different. But yes, because I'm always
but that just clicked in my brain. Yeah,
I'm always like studying different things. I have an interest of so many, just like the psyche and spirituality and everything. That's just like
I should have gone to psychology school.
I thought about that because I would totally get like 5 million degrees. It's like,
that's what if I was independently wealthy. I would have never stopped going to school if I was independently wealthy. Unfortunately,
always about learning.
Yeah, I always. You know what? They can. My dad always told me they can take away everything from you. Everything. The government can take away everything from you, except for what you've learned.
Right.
They can't take that away.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, I was all for education.
Exactly.
So I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. So tell us about your book.
Yeah, so I go through every chakra as it relates to singing. So just like the inner parts, I have affirmations in there. People that go through certain blockages. I went through a really tough period in my life, and I started to teach differently and started to notice things differently. And I started to also just be a little bit more aware of like the students that were coming in and venting a lot of like stuff that they were carrying and how it affected their singing. And then the deeper I got into like spiritual studies and stuff, I was just like, wait, this has to be connected. And are we talking about this enough? Are we talking about a person's like, emotional state and why they can't sing that day, or why they can, why they're able to emote? And
well, stress is definitely a killer when it comes to
or the opposite. Yeah. I mean, and it depends on the person. So it's, voice in general, it's just so, it's an individual thing. It's personal. It's yours. It's the most vulnerable part of you, is to sing. So like, and to speak, right? To show emotion through sound.
I actually think it's easier to sing in front of people than it would be to give a speech. And I don't know why. I don't know why that is. It's like when you get up there and you're going to sing in front of somebody, I think for the most part, you've memorized, except for me, you've memorized the lyrics, right? And you've practiced with the band and you know where everybody is and what you're going to do up there. Right. But when you go up to give a speech, you're probably handed a speech, a day before and you practice like 1 or 2 times. And when you're giving a speech, you're by yourself. But when you're giving a performance, for the most part, you're with a band and you feel
I think
a little bit of
that. I would say that's comfort. Subjective too.
Yeah.
Like, because
everything that comes out of my mouth is subjective.
No, I mean, logically, that makes a lot of sense. If you're prepared, then you should feel better to get on stage. But that is not really the case, mostly, and even working with students, they could write their own songs and be, and they're thinking about so many other things. Did I experience the moment? Did I emote text the way that I should? Did my audience cry? Or did they just like my singing? I mean, there's so many things that, or they had a bad day that day, or.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I read a little story about Barbara Streisand once, and apparently she is she's terrorized of getting up there, terrified of getting up there and singing in front of a group of people, which you would think, one of the best singers of our generation, or the generation before, whatever generation you want to be, would be terrified of getting up and singing.
It's not being terrified. I don't think it's being terrified of singing. It's being terrified of being vulnerable, and that's what that is. It's just like, I'm about to just give you all of me, on the stage. And it's not just, you're not just judging my voice here. You're feeling everything that I'm moving
So,
through.
but does the average person actually dissect it down to that micro level that
It's a good question.
that people should be that terrified? Like, if I go to a rock and roll concert, I don't sit there and go, okay, well, they missed this note, or and
Right.
I'm also, certainly not a professional,
Right.
but I mean, I know enough to sit there and say, oh, it doesn't sound like the record, or it doesn't, or they're not hopping around enough on stage, or something like. I don't really dissect it to that degree.
That's a really good question, and I think
I mean, you probably would, because you're in the industry, right?
Right. Or or maybe some people don't like logically, yes, that's they shouldn't dissect that part, that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But they may not realize why they're so terrified, or why they didn't love what they did, or why they're dissecting how they felt that they didn't sound so good, or whatever the case may be. I think that there's like so many layers to what we don't know when it comes to just being free in general.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, mostly people just want to be entertained.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, and if most people looked at it that way, it would be a lot easier. I think it would be a lot.
But I think I don't know if performers actually think of it that way. But you go to concerts and you just want to be, the average layperson just wants to be entertained. They're not.
And it's something that we say a lot. I mean, I say to my students, like, hey, they just heard beauty.
Yeah.
You're back here and you're just like saying, oh my God, and this note and that, and they really just heard.
People are always harder on themselves than they are on other people.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched some of the singing competitions. I can tell you, I watch singing competitions on TV, and I can definitely tell when somebody's not hitting a note.
Right. Right. And, but in the end, music is just about the feeling. It really is. So like there's a reason why we can hear singers and see them on stage and feel something. It can take us back to a place, in our lives. It can, open up wounds.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. Because if you sit there and you talk to people that grew up in the 70s, or grew up in the 80s, or grew up in the 50s, what's their favorite music? Their favorite music is when they were probably in junior high school, and college, right?
Absolutely.
So that brings back that youth to them, which today's music, whatever today's music is, wherever you are on the scale, it does not sound the same, and does not bring back the same type feelings. But yeah, I mean, you sit there and you sing for July 4th or something, and you can tell the people that are really, the younger people are like, what the hell is this song? Right? It could be a great song, but what the hell is a song? Where you get other people and they're really into it because that's what happened. That they're
into it, or they're feeling it. I mean, especially now, the attention spans are like diminishing more and more and more with like social media. So I think like when people now get on that stage, they have to do more than just sound great. There has to be something else coming out of them. And whether we realize that or not, I think that's like ever present,
Well, my problem is, I don't think, this sounds like my dad or my grandfather, right? I don't think today's music is real music, right? But to people growing up in today, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
I understand what you mean. Because I mean, obviously, like.
And by the way, I listen to all genres of music, right? I can go from country to rap to hard rock to, there's really nothing that I won't listen to for the most part, but there's something that's going on now with some of the techno music and stuff. I just don't understand it.
Well, it's probably just based on just.
I'm an old guy. No, it's because I'm old and I should be put into a.
I mean, it's just different. I think people are yearning for like the old styles to come back. I think so.
I'm not even sure. I hate to say this because I'm going to get ripped, but some of the techno music, I'm just being honest.
I'll get them.
Some of the techno music, I just don't see. I don't see that as much as about musical skill as I do the ability to play with the computer. Does that maybe I'm simplifying? Maybe I know, but musical skill. No, I get that. It's a skill, but it's not a musical skill like sitting there and picking up a clarinet or some other instrument. And really, because when these people play those instruments, it's like singing, right? And I just don't see that happening with sitting on a computer
But it's a skill if you think
It's
about
a skill.
If you think about discipline and patience and the skill of sitting there to actually learn something, then it's the same.
So we're going to debate this for 2 more seconds. You're like
Yeah.
this. So I absolutely agree with you. It's a
Yeah.
skill. Is it a musical skill? Like somebody asked me, we got in a debate a year ago or whatever, that I said race car driving is not a sport.
Mhm.
Okay. And they go, you're crazy. It's a sport. And I go, I said, it's a skill. And sitting in a car going 160 miles an hour is a skill. But I don't see it as, I don't recognize that as a sport like basketball, football, or baseball, So yes, it's definitely a skill, but
is it a musical skill?
Is it a musical skill?
That is not my area, but I will say.
Well, I'm going to drag it at you. So you have to say skill or no skill.
I think it's a skill. Putting sounds together.
Okay, we're going to have to disagree on this one. We'll agree to disagree. So let's go back to your book. So how long ago did you write it?
It took me a couple years to write it, but it just came out in June, like fully out, Amazon, all of that.
And UM's going to use it?
I would like for UM to use it.
Okay, you heard that first on my show.
I would like
UM has to use it.
I think at some point it'll be some form of one of the ensembles.
Is it hardback or paperback?
Paperback.
Paperback?
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna bring it to the University of Miami,
and it has to be.
You can just put in fillers of pictures. Thick. Yeah, thick. Just pick. You know what you do? If it's not 150 pages and it's only 25, just put pictures in.
Mandated. And my book. I get it.
I mean, come on. You've been there 3 years or 4 years, and you got some priority there. They need to use your book.
Yeah.
And then they need to sell the book, to other universities, and
that's
they need
to.
And UM needs to take some of that money. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Right? And at least you'll be hitting one of the criteria, which is to get something published.
Right.
So where have you gone to try to publish it?
It's published.
Oh, it's published already.
It's published.
Okay. Yeah. So where can you get it in case anybody wants to
pick it up? You can get it on Amazon. You can get it Barnes & Nobles. And the publisher has a bunch of other different things, but I just say Amazon and Barnes & Nobles.
So can you download it?
Yes.
Oh, you can download it too. So you've got all bases covered. Kindle?
Yeah.
What's a Kindle?
It's like the...
No, I know what it is. I'm just joking. I'm not that old.
I don't know how I was going to explain it though.
You were doing a great job.
Okay.
So if you had to tell your students one thing about taking, music classes and the rest of their lives, because, you could probably relate to your students better than I could relate to your students. What would that be?
I would say be prepared to not just be challenged on a skillful level of music, but to be challenged emotionally, mentally through discipline and, accomplishment and all of that. And, I guess somewhat of competition, of healthy competition, and staying very present for themselves.
And true to themselves.
Yeah, and true to themselves.
Right? Don't sell out. Nobody likes a sellout, okay? Nobody. You sell out, you're off her list.
No.
And you will not get into any.
We need patrons of the arts, okay? So
we do.
If we do get some sellouts, it's okay because they end up paying for,
patrons of the arts. You need some patrons of the arts for opera.
We need patrons of the arts that will fund.
Yeah.
They will nicely fund.
Listen, when I was a kid, my dad was
community things.
When I was a kid, my dad was from Europe, so he used to drag us. I love that. He used to take us to opera. So I have an appreciation of opera, but I don't think they're it's something that you really, the younger generation, I don't think has.
Some do. I think some do. Depends what their parents are listening to, and it depends like what. A movie that they watch. It just takes that. It just takes a movie, takes one small thing. You
think that the generation now is like into Bach, Beethoven, or any of?
Well,
I know they have to.
Yeah,
I know they have to because you have to, right?
College,
so do they appreciate like how old that music is and how long it's been around? I mean, I got to tell you something. That's something I always appreciated, because you could have a song from the 1960s that was a number one song, and nobody's listening to it now. You could have a song from 1970s, nobody's listening to that. But I mean, you're talking some of these, Bach, Beethoven, and whoever else is out there. I mean, you're talking about, symphonies that have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years and are still there.
I think if there's for the most part, if there's history attached to it, if they understand some parts of the history, they might be a little bit more inclined to wanting to listen to it or listening to it more intently. Possibly. You know what? That was a great response. I think that was a great answer.
That was very non-committal.
Exactly.
This is called Gloves Off with David Singer. I don't usually let people get away with responses like that, by the way.
That was so safe. It was great.
So do you want to, what else do you want to cover?
I think that's it. What?
I can go through your resume some more.
Mom, you're amazing. Dad, in heaven or wherever.
Well, that your parents are what, you basically are, right? Because you were exposed to things growing up. I was exposed to everybody's. Tommy was exposed to nothing. But I mean, by the way, thanks, Tommy. You're doing a great job. Anyway, so.
No, and the connection that you bring, I grew up with there was a lot of philanthropic aspects. Like, my mom, we would feed the homeless like every Saturday. She would like pack up, and it was back in the day where like the Volvo Volkswagens, and my mom would go to BJ's, Costco's, and just get bread and sandwich meat, cookies, juice, and we would wake up on Saturday mornings and
that's so great.
That. And then I think like just that whole
how do you instill that to 350 million people that live in the United States?
It's hard, but you know what? It's just the understanding that there's something that you can do. Like it's just
pick one thing, by the way. Right? Pick one charity, one thing. Give back to community, right? Or pick two.
Or even through whatever it is that you do. I think there's some aspect of service through whatever it is that you decide to do in life. We're here, and I think there's some form of service in that,
But are they, the younger generation, are they doing it? I mean, I got to tell you something. I know 50% of the people I know give back.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
The other 50% don't necessarily give back, but I'm not sure they have the time to give back.
Right.
Right. But I would say that, you only live once. Right. You really need to give back to community or people that are struggling.
But you're giving back even through mentorship. You're giving back through your job. Sometimes, depending on whatever it is that you do, there's some form of giving back. If you're just like,
but I'm talking about giving back as far as I get that.
Like the actual.
I'm talking about really giving back and helping with the homeless. Or my two favorite things in the world are animals and music. Right. So
we don't all have the time to do that.
No,
but
we don't. But even once a month,
choose a day, or something like that, or the holidays or whatever they'd like.
Like
I think it's mandated.
No, it's not.
It's
not. But it would be nice if more people in the United States gave back. And I'm not a far left liberal, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean because everybody go, he's a far left liberal, because he wants us all to give back. But I mean giving back really, I think when you're lying there and you only got 10 minutes to live or something. You'll probably think more about, your family and what you've done and giving back and stuff like that than playing an extra round of golf.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Maybe most of us, right?
Yeah. So anyway, so we got this new set. It's because the Miller brothers could not pay their electric bill. So that's why we're sitting on a new set. Or maybe, Tommy, was it the electric bill they couldn't pay, or was it? Oh, the internet service. Yeah. So I have to do a shout out to Grant and Mike Miller. Please start paying your bills, for God's sakes. Okay. And I really appreciate you coming by. This was fun. You have to do it. Oh, I did want to say one thing. Starting September, because I love music, we're going to have a Saturday morning talk show, and it's going to be basically, hopefully we'll bring in some students from UM. We'll bring in some bands, local bands. We can bring in some of your students, so I know them. So when they become rich and famous, I can hit them up for some money. Okay. I'm all for having people. I'm all for people being rich and famous, so I can hit them for money. And it should be really interesting because it's the one piece of the puzzle that community newspapers is missing. So thank you very much, Cassandra. I appreciate it. We're going to be singing together later, right?
Oh, possibly.
No, not really.
Okay.
You're going to be, oh, you could sing. Can you hum a few
Definitely
bars?
not. I knew it was going to go there.
Can you hum a
No
few bars?
way.
No, on Saturdays, I
Saturday,
promise,
I may
promise
actually
you.
yeah, I may think of doing something
We
with Raina.
will sit there and we will bring in students on
Okay.
Saturday mornings that can sing or play a musical instrument, and it really should
Yeah.
be a lot of fun. If it wasn't for Raina, we would have started
She's
last month.
amazing.
Oh
That's
yeah,
so-
no, she's holding up everything.
Yeah.
Raina, I don't know if I want to
Raina,
wait till
She's
September.
watching. Is this live?
Yeah, this is,
Wait.
well, it's a little bit delayed. So
Raina.
thanks everybody for joining us. Join us next Thursday for Gloves Off with David Singer. I'll be back in the other studio and won't be sitting in these comfy chairs. And everybody thank Cassandra for being here.
Thank you.
And peace out. Stay healthy. Wear mask.